this is Wisdom Wednesday number 12, and today's topic is from telling lies to giving a blessing. The questioner asks this: I'm not happy in my relationship anymore. It's hard to tell my partner or my husband the truth of how I feel because I'm afraid that he'll leave me and I'll be left alone. I lie to him hoping that we can regain that state of love that we first experienced when we met. How can I tell him the truth without the worst case scenario happening? Okay, well, that sounds like a pretty typical situation. A lot of people will fall in love. They're infatuated with each other, and then they decide, okay, I want to make a life with you. And then they have these hopes and expectations, so they decide, they make a commitment, they invest their time and energy into that person. And then for some reason, over a few years, things are not matching up anymore. And then the hopes and the dreams, you're feeling they're falling apart, and you're not happy anymore. And so now you're falling out of love, and this is painful. And so what do? You start lying. You start hoping that you can, if you just keep lying, you'll be able to keep that image that you had when you first were married, to keep that alive again. It's pretty typical. Okay, so here's a question. Why do you lie? Why does a person lie? I can give you at least three good reasons why you'd want to lie. The first one is that you want something that you don't already have. You desire something that you have in your head, but you're not living it, and you hope that if you keep lying to yourself, or keep that image alive in yourself, you will be able to live up to it. Or you already have what you want, but you're afraid of losing it, so you got to keep that going. So you're going to keep investing energy into that to keep it alive. So you lie a little bit in order to keep that image alive. The second good reason for lying is you're not prepared to deal with the consequences of the truth of things. So if you're all of a sudden opening your eyes to, oh my God, this is certainly not working out, I'm very unhappy, that means you have to change a bunch of things in your life. That means a lot of energy has to go around. You have to drop all of your illusions, and you have to deal with reality. And you know, it's much easier, isn't it, to just keep that little bit of a lie going, or that illusion going, and rather than having to face everything out there. That's a good reason to lie. And the third good reason to lie is you don't have the trust in being honest. You don't trust that honesty will actually give you what you want. You don't trust that you have the power to live in the place of authenticity, and that authenticity will give you everything you want. You don't have that trust. You've never experienced it. You don't know what that's like. Okay? So that's another good reason to lie. All right. So the act of lying is based on an illusion, correct? You have an image in your head, and you keep it going. You want to keep it going, right? So perhaps you want to be happy but you're not happy. Or you think you're happy, but deep down inside, you're not happy. So, the other thing that we could say here is you think there's something wrong. You think either there's something wrong with you or that there's something deeply missing in yourself or in the situation. So you're trying to live up to the illusion. So to that particular point, I'd like to say this, that yes, you know what? There is something missing in your situation here. And that is the power to be authentic. The trust in truth. That how powerful truth is to make your life glow. To resonate with the power of happiness. That's what's missing in your life. Okay, so now the next question will be this. How can you empower yourself to not lie anymore and to move towards speaking your truth? Okay. There's a first step for this. Okay, so the first important step to not lie is, or to get your power back to be able to speak your truth, is number one, acknowledge to yourself first that your image is not working. That all this time and energy investment that you have in this image is draining you now. That it's not working. You are unhappy. To acknowledge that first. That you're attached to this image. You've got these rose-colored kind of like flowery type of, this is how it can be. But there's this strong attachment, like you can feel like you're clinging to it. You're chasing after it. You're running after it. So just acknowledge that there's this attachment happen and make a decision that that's it. I'm not going to lie anymore. So you don't know what you're going to do next, but at least you're not going to lie anymore. So restrain your lying. That's the first step. The second step is that you have to admit now, like say you're in a situation with your husband or a friend, whatever your scenario is. Now that you've admitted it to yourself, now you're going to communicate your truth to this other person, and you just say, look, this is what I thought. I made a commitment with you. I had all these hopes and expectations, but the reality is this. Look, this is happening, that's happening, and I don't see that we'll be able to actually live up to our idea or my idea. I'm sorry. Can we make a change here? Let's drop down to the reality of things. So you're going to admit to your partner. That's the second step. First one is to acknowledge to yourself that things are not working out. The second one is to admit to the other person that it's not working out. The third step is to trust that when you speak your truth, that truth is powerful and contagious. That when you are really connecting to the authentic self that you are, and you're looking at reality and you're saying it for what it actually is, that trust that your partner, instead of the worst case scenario, might be the opposite. Maybe you'll inspire your partner to also speak his truth, and that he will also want to come down off the cloud and walk the earth with the reality of the way things are. And that maybe the both of you might come up with something brand new. So trust in the power of authenticity. That's your third step. So this is what I would suggest, is speak to your partner, speak to your husband, and go ahead and do that. Tell them the truth, and when you're speaking, be open to that things could be really good, and at least you're no longer draining your energy, falling apart, and denying the truth. That's a lot of energy to keep up. Okay, here's a question that might come up now when you're making a decision about your situation. Maybe should you leave? Should you stay? What should I do in my situation with my husband? So the question is this: what's the difference between the ego's agenda and divine truth guiding us, particularly in making a decision? Okay, good. So let's talk about the ego's agenda. The ego is an image. It's something that you keep up here that you're always striving for. So the ego's agenda is to keep you living up to that image. So the ego, the way it feels when ego's agenda is running is that it feels very narrow, it feels very limited, it feels like there's a real strong striving, and it comes up as like, it should be like this. There's a narrowing fixation on the image, and you're constantly trying to live up to it. So there's a lot of energy involved, very contracted feeling. So that's the ego image. When making a decision, you will feel that you're being trapped by the ego's agenda. That the ego will say, well, don't change, stay in your comfortable situation here. It's not a good idea to go out into the big world out there of the unknowns, and don't bother trying to expand yourself. Just stay here, try to keep me going, keep my image going, and it's not important that you're happy. It's better that you live up to my image, because I'm here to protect you. I'm not here to make you happy. I'm here to protect you. So this is, the ego's agenda is all about this idea of protecting you, right? So now the difference with that and the divine truth is that truth has no agenda. Truth just is seeing the things the way they are. And it's like being grounded. You're solid on the earth, and you see it as it is, and you have no fear because you're one with it. There's a sense, yeah, this is the way it is. This is fine. You have no sense of striving because you're okay. You feel whole and complete. The sense when you're with divine truth is that you're expanded. You're relaxed. That's the other thing that's really important about divine truth. You've let go of the striving, and now there's no energy being lost, so you feel completely rested. You can relax. You can let things be the way they are. It feels really great. It's the best place to be, actually, when you're actually resting in your truth. So the way it would look when you're making a decision is that you're aware of the different opportunities that you have. You're aware of the different patterns of your thinking. You're aware of the options that you have in front of you. So you're aware of the way things are. You feel whole and complete, and you don't really care which direction or whatever the decision is, because you're complete, you're whole. So there's no need inside of you to go one way or the other. And the other thing about when you're making a decision from the place of divine truth is that you're resonating with truth. You're resonating with a larger field rather than your ego field. And what happens is when you're resonating with that truth, that higher field, then whatever choices do come up or whatever decision you do make, it will be in alignment with authenticity. You will be speaking your truth. And it feels so much better. It's freer. It's more expanded. Okay, and now the last thing, that there's a continuation from lying to accepting the way things are, and then speaking your truth. And now there's this last thing, that's the bonus. That if you can keep this practice going with your meditation, with your speaking your truth, then something more powerful starts to happen. Very empowering, actually. And it's this ability to bless people. You are now in alignment with the larger truth, and you can feel the power of that truth running through your life because you've made a commitment to always listen to that. So now you're connected. There's this alignment that's happening. So you can become like a prophet. You're like truth's ambassador. So truth is there, and you're a vehicle for truth to speak through you because you're so attuned to the way things actually are, to the point that because you're so tuned that others will be looking for your guidance. They'll be asking you, tell me how it's going to be, or, help me in this situation. You will be able to bless people, guide people, because of your ability to stay with truth. They know when you speak your truth that it's the truth because you're connected. And they want to be connected. So in your situation, say, with your husband, and you've been lying, and you keep this practice going, and you trust in the power of authenticity, then you will be granted a power to speak truth. And not only speak truth, but you'll be able to bless them. So in your situation with your husband, now that you're really grounded in your truth, you can say to him, hey, I trust that if you go forward and you trust your truth and you move forward with that, things will work well with you. Go ahead. I'll let you leave and have a good life. And you will also have a good life if that's the way things turn out. If you are already grounded in your truth, both of you, you could also continue living together because now you have a new way of relating. Because remember, that was the thing that was missing, is the power of authenticity. Now that you have that, you can live together and be honest and have a beautiful relationship. Or you can say, okay, well, it's not working. The reality is it's not working. But I'm fine and you're fine. And you can still go forward with all the changes that have to take place in order for you to continue to live your truth. Okay, that's it for today's Wisdom Wednesday. So see you next Wednesday for another Wisdom Wednesday. Bye for now.